And it's not necessarily the case, as you may have heard, that Irwin Cotler is Canada's Alan Dershowitz. One may just as easily say that Dershowitz is America's Irwin Cotler. Rwanda, Darfur, the former Soviet Union, the United Nations, here and elsewhere he has spoken and acted. Sharansky, Sakharov, Timmerman, Mandela. On behalf of these and others, Irwin Cotler has been counsel for the oppressed. Irwin Cotler is a man of the moment, and hence his initiation, as you saw, before the Canadian Parliament of the Iran Accountability Act. A Jew who cares for his own and cares for others, who defends the state of Israel with passion and clarity, a teacher who sheds light and speaks truth. It is a privilege to present the Maurice N. Eisendrath Bearer of Light Award to Professor Irwin Cotler.
Indeed, humbled by this award in honor of the memory of Rabbi Eisendrath, a great son of our people, a giant voice in the struggle for civil rights, an early voice in the struggle for civil rights, the embodiment of the commitment to prophetic justice which underpins the work of the reform movement led by the great rabbinical figures that I mentioned. And I accept it in the name of and on behalf of the cases and causes with which I had the privilege to be associated over the years, and the courageous men and women, the Sakharovs and Sharanskys, the Sadat, the Dean Ibrahims, and the Mandelas, on whose behalf I had the privilege to serve, and the courageous spouses, their courageous partners, who I have to say, in all the cases of the political prisoners on whose behalf I worked, those who were released because also of the work of their partners, the women who stood with them while they were in prison, who were their voice outside of prison, and who made their release possible. Avital Sharansky was a household word in those days. She was Natan Sharansky's voice and vision for the world. And I remember, and I was reminded about it today, that it was almost 20 years ago to the day that I happened to have been sitting in the apartment of Andrei Sakharov in Moscow when he received a call then from one of the leaders of Charter 77 of then Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic, to tell him, and you could hear in the background, and Sakharov gave us the phone so that we could just hear the cheering crowds, over 250,000 in Wenceslas Square, and he was called to be told that the Politburo had fallen, that the people had won. It was something that I will never forget. I regret only that I returned to Canada and then was returning yet again to Moscow on December 14th of that year. And when I arrived in London on my way to Moscow, I learned in a phone call with my wife that Andrei Sakharov, with whom I was to have dinner with that evening, had died earlier that day.